Well, here we are again. The whole Buffy Sainte-Marie thing happened. It's a week later now, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about how I'm doing. I wanted to ask how you're doing. Maybe I wanted to give you some hints if you're struggling, what you can do with this and other situations like this. So let's talk about it. Bonjour, Mishko Pognon, Quain Edition Mungdo Dam. Hi, everybody. My name is Sandy Boucher. I'm Red Thunderbolt Woman of the Loon Clan, a proud member of Seine River First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. Got a hair in my mouth in Northern Ontario. And I'm here with the Path podcast once again. And that reminds me, I'm going to go off on a tangent today. I can just tell. Oh, still got I love when the lip gloss grabs your hair. Anyways, the Path podcast. I don't know if you know, and my main videos, the Path. You notice the Path is all capital letters. It's because Path is an acronym. It's what I call the four sacred or essential tools that you need to reconcile with someone. The P is patience. The A is awareness of what's going on for that other person. The T is tenacity, don't give up. And the H is humility. Sit back and learn rather than do judgment or preach. And that is really kind of applies to the grieving process too. You got to be patient with yourself. You got to be aware of what's going on with you. Don't give up, but stay in your humility and ask your questions and be okay with guidance. Because, before I jump into it, how are you doing? I know many people, many fans of Buffy Sainte-Marie were really struggling this week. Many Canadians were really struggling. And of course, many Indigenous people were really taken out of their knees. And I've been going through a real self-reflection, self-analysis process, which is part of the grieving process, or I believe I've got like page of notes this time, not little card. I've been through the grieving process a few times, and you don't only grieve when someone passes on, you can grieve the end of a relationship, which is what this Buffy thing is, on top of the end of looking up to her and admiring her. You can grieve the end of a job, your child moving out of the home. There's so many things. So first and foremost, I think come the tears. And I think that's a really important part of it, that in my culture, Anishinaabe culture, my mom would have been the first to say, if you feel the need to cry, that is your body and spirit telling you, I'm ready to release this. Release it. It will actually cause you health problems to hold that in. And you know what? You're not going to turn into a puddle on the floor. I've definitely had times in my life where I thought if I start crying, I never will stop. Your body stops you. Trust. Your body knows how to survive, but you need to cry those tears. Next part is the memories, the fond memories, and almost reliving them and running through them. And that's okay. That's healthy. You shouldn't feel guilty about that. Even in a case like this, where you feel like Buffy betrayed you, it's okay to have those fond memories because you are grieving the person you thought she was. And you had fond memories of that person. So that's okay. You can hang on to those. And then, of course, comes the unpacking of the betrayal. The how do I feel about this? What does this mean for me personally? In some cases, redefining who you are with this new knowledge. Like, I am a strong and proud Anishinaabe and a Ojibwe woman, and she was inspirational to me. She no longer is, but that does not diminish who I am. And if it did, if you still need someone to aspire then you need to find that new person. You, like I said, Pam Palmater, great person to look up to. Senator Murray Sinclair, Cindy Blackstock. There's so many amazing Anishinaabe out there, or Anishinaabe, or whatever nation they are, not just Ojibwe. The other thing is, as you go through that process, and it's not linear, it's back and forth, and you might be fine, and then you're crying again, you eventually find a new normal. This loss becomes part of the life journey. It's just a rock in the river, it's not the river, right? There's also still beautiful shores, and eventually you get okay with that. Eventually you get okay with you remember that her BS is not your BS, that her demons are not your demons, and her monkey's her circus, or whatever that quote is. But you come back to who you are, who you worked really hard to become, who you created. It wasn't her. And I know for me, that's been my entire week. But I would be a liar myself if I didn't acknowledge it's the silver lining, I guess. And I know some people get really annoyed when you look for silver linings, or silver linings in a bad situation. I think that's like, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. And silver linings right in the beginning when you're grieving, like, and crying the tears, is annoying AF. But eventually you get to the point where you're okay with it. And for me, I there were benefits I enjoy from this experience. And for one, I got to the point where I'm not dependent on anyone else to be who I am. And I'm 59 years old. You may not be at that stage yet, but I am who I am, whether someone likes me or not, whether they're being authentic or not. I know who I am, and I'm okay with the woman in the mirror. I'm okay to meet my creator when it's time for that to happen. And on top of that, I can't help, I have to acknowledge the increase in subscribers and people visiting my videos and my channel. I have gained so many new subscribers, and I've gained, even more important to me, I've gained way more people to chat with, to have these discussions. There was so much beautiful authenticity and vulnerability in the comments, people sharing, like just openly sharing how, yeah, this devastated me, and or disappointment. You know what? I love her music. I would have loved her music if, even if she didn't say she was Indigenous. Like, I felt from so many people that they felt Buffy underestimated them. Like, why didn't you trust us just to like your music without this facade? And it was so reassuring and affirming, and it made me smile in spite of all the things. By the way, I did promise I was going to give you a tip here. If this is total Anishinaabe teachings, by the way, straight from my mom, and I'm so thankful for my mom and these teachings. If there's someone in your life that you would like, they maybe have low self-esteem, they don't believe in themselves, if you want to help them build their confidence and their wisdom, there's one question you have to ask them as often as you can. And it's a simple question. The question is, what do you think? Their answer is not the important part. The important part is that they are being taught to check in with themselves. How do I feel about this? What is my opinion on this? And as you do that more and more, you start to realize, one, who you are, and two, it builds your confidence and your wisdom. Now, I did that this entire week, that checking in, like, okay, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this latest news report? How do I feel about what that person just said on this topic? That constant checking in, not, I'm all that in a bag of chips. Not that I'm lower than everyone on the planet, just what do I think, honestly. And when we start doing that, my mom used to always say, you are the only one that's going to be with you for your entire journey. You better start figuring out what you need and what you think. So I hope that you do that when you need to do that. I hope you do that on a regular basis. What do I think of this sandwich? What do I think of that commercial? What do I think of this TV program? What do I think of how I showed up today? What do I think of how I treated that person? We're not judging other people. We're checking in on ourselves and making sure that we're being true to ourselves. Do that, and you start to actually love the person you are. Now, the videos that came out this week were actually recorded and scheduled long before this hit the fan. Next week's videos, there's going to be a few more part of this reflection, learning, growing, where my pain was, what I think of different situations. So I hope you stick around to see those. I hope that you comment. I love comments, not the attacky kind, not that I don't care. That's ridiculous. Today's video is about AI and my concern. I get people asking me all the time if I want to use email to send texts, or if I want to use AI to send texts or emails to the people that on my email list, or the people, that I converse with. And it's like, what? They count on my authenticity. I'm not turning that over to a robot, nor do I want to put in time and effort working with someone who is going to turn it over to a robot. AI is great and wonderful in certain areas, not in relationship building, not in starting a relationship. So some things we have to do on our own, and that's what makes us human. That's beautiful. That's where the value of human interaction comes from. So stick around. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my kitchen table. Welcome to life as seen through Indigenous eyes, life as Anishinaabe in Canada, life in a world that still seems to have way too many pretendians. So I hope you're doing okay. I really am. I hope you've been doing your own self-reflection. I hope you have cried the tears you need to cry, whether it's for this situation or any other. And even more importantly, I hope you're in the habit of asking yourself, what do I think about this? Why is this upsetting me? Why did I use that word? What happened? Why I got so upset? Why does this make me so happy? You should really answer that last one, because then you can replicate it. I hope that made sense. Thank you so much for being you, for being willing to put in the time to watch a video, to comment, to allow me to interact with you in some small way. I do not take that for granted, nor will I ever. That's just my teachings. Until next week's podcast, by the way, it is 7:30 a.m. on Friday morning when I'm shooting this. Usually I either shoot it sometime Friday or it gets booted to Saturday. I decided to make you a priority. You deserve that. Until next week, I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.